Hi, I'm Jeremy.
Is this? Oh, hello. Da, 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 da. Who's here for Red Dead Redemption? I'm gonna need a yeehaw. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, yeehaw. Hey, it's my home fan. I met those guys this morning. Really cool. Da, da, da. So we're gonna give everybody a few minutes to kind of crowd in. I'm gonna introduce you to your host, and then I'm gonna get the hell out of here and let you guys have fun with your panel. Okay? Sound good? Yeah. It sounds alright. We'll see. You want me to stay? I understand. So yeah, I'm gonna have them come out in just a few minutes. These are use waters. I don't want anybody drinking that. LA water. Gonna clean these up and see if I can get some water for this room. I'm killing time while we let me take it down. Yeah, take your coat off, make yourself comfortable. And go bang. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to introduce you and hand you off to the brilliant, the talented, the very funny, if he's here. Where is he? The amazing Lamar Harris.
Wow. Wait, was that an introduction?
That was an introduction. I said beautiful. I said funny. He's here, totally ready. Let's go. Lamar is going to be your host for this panel. And he's going to go over everything with you right now. And then he's going to introduce...
That's the class of people who have no idea who I am. What's up, everybody? Give it up for Jeremy for introducing me. Welcome to the Red Dead Redemption 2 panel. I'm going to be introducing the people that you're actually here to see, but I'm your host for this evening. Let me get my notes, just in case. I'm going to bring in our main people, but are you guys excited for this panel? It's going to be a lot of fun, yeah? There we go. There's some energy left in the last couple of hours of this fantastic panel. I would like to bring in all of our actors that we have tonight. First, I'd like to bring in Samantha Strelitz, who plays Mary Beth Gaskill. Give it up for Samantha. Round of applause. Big round of applause for Brien. And then you love him, you hunted him, and you shot him. Give it up for Steve Palmer, Bill Williamson! Give it up for our actors here tonight. We're here to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a 60-hour story, over 500,000 lines of dialogue. It had 1,200 actors. 500 of those actually did physical acting within this particular media, and it took 6 years to produce. That's a lot of acting. So, hi and welcome. We have you guys having some fun at Long Beach Comic-Con, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's start off by saying this. How many cons have you guys done so far? Is this your first, your seventh?
This is my first Comic-Con.
Round of applause for the first Comic-Con, yeah?
This is also my first.
Since specifically with Red Dead, since April, this is my 6th, and I've got 3 more coming. So,
Yeah. Wait, you did 6 since April?
this is number 6. Yes.
Of this year?
Yes.
Oh my God, welcome. Nice feather into the world. So, I'm going to start by asking some questions. I am a giant fan of this particular medium. This, to me, was one of Rockstar's masterpieces. Like, I've played a lot of Rockstar, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is fantastic. But my question is how did y'all even hear about, I guess, the auditions of this particular game? Like, how did you hear about it? What was the casting process like? Just go there.
Okay, cool. Got a call from my agent about an undisclosed audition that they weren't really giving that much information, but I went in and gave us dialogue, took the dialogue, thought, what the heck was that? And for a callback, and then again, in our industry, when you go for an audition, you either book it, you get a callback, or you never hear from them again. That's just how it goes. So I was like, oh, that was awesome, and I knew who Rockstar was. Of course, I didn't know it was going to be Red Dead 2, but I was like, oh, that was so cool. I'm glad I got to be in front of them. Now they know who I am, and even if I don't get it, whatever. So when I didn't hear back, I thought, you know, oh well. And then I got a call and I booked it, and the rest is history.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. It was, my story's kind of funny. It was St. Patrick's Day, and the parade was going on in New York, and I got a call from my agent, who I usually work with commercially, just for like Colgate and Tide and stuff. She's like, got a last minute audition for you. I think they want someone Irish. Just get yourself here. And I was like, oh my God, it's like 50 blocks up through the parade. I gotta get up there in like an hour. I was like, let's see what I can do. Like, took a train, took a taxi, it was raining. And I get in there and there's like 10 names in front of my name. It's like, Siobhan O'Houlihan, and like, Kira O'Toole. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely going for an Irish person. And I went in and he was like, all right, cool, these are the lines. Just say them really Irish and really angry. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I just ran around like a crazy person and left. And I was like, that was weird. And then a couple of weeks later, I got a call and they're like, hey, you booked this job. It's going to be a motion capture voiceover gig. Arrive here. And that was it for me. And I'd actually never heard of Red Dead before, so I had like quite a bit of catching up to do. Just a little bit.
Well, I am one of 4 actors that returned from the original 2010 release. But my story is very similar with the first time around, and the same thing goes for Benjamin Byron Davis and Rob Weedoff, who played Dutch, and John Marston. It was a week before Christmas, and it was the 2008. You guys, locals, you remember we were major rains in that it was like pouring. And my agent called me, and I was at a different live performance of the job. And he said, "Hey, can you get down last minute audition? It's for like a western. It's like a western video." So I told him, "Can you get down there in 35 minutes?" I'm like, "I can get down there in maybe an hour. If I'm lucky. It's pouring now. They just need to get down there as soon as possible." I was like, crap, okay, thanks. So I'm like, I'm headed for audition, but it's like, okay, don't run to another car, don't wreck, protect yourself. And I got there, and I was about 10 minutes late, but it was okay because it was pouring rain, and people are in ponchos and umbrellas, and the line's going out the door. This was Santa Monica, it was Kathy Holmes' case. I remember it like it was yesterday. And so the line started moving, and we got there, people were drying off and stuff. And they had all these fold-out prop tables, that, like stuff like this. They had Western memorabilia props, like bandoliers and holsters. And they actually had some kind of cowboy hats. And they wanted us to put this stuff on. So I feel like, put that on. And I think they had a couple pairs of boots. I don't think anything fit me, but they wanted the actors to get really into it. And I said, I haven't auditioned, because usually when it comes, if you're a professional actor and in this town, and they're like, go to audition, you don't dress the part, you don't bring in props. That's considered super really tacky. But they did it. It's like, no, we're gonna have. And I thought, it's like, I haven't done this since like a high school audition. But there was something very therapeutic about it, because got into it. It's like, all right, they want us to play, and they had me read a bunch of stuff, which surprisingly ended up being in the game, which you don't see that now. But I guess there's stuff that they had ready. So I auditioned. I didn't know it was auditioning before, but they said, there's tons of parts. And I was like, all right. So I did this, and I was like, that was a lot of fun. And so the week goes by, Christmas happens, go through the week, New Year's, maybe a week and a half after New Year's, we're going into, it was the second week of January 2009. It was fine, I forgot about it. Moving on, and my agent calls me. You remember that Western thing right before Christmas was raining and you go out for it? It's like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God. It's like, did they finally decide to have callbacks? Or, they wanted holidays? He goes, nah, you didn't get a call back. I was like, great. He's like, no, you booked the bad guy. I was like, you know, I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, great. And we went in. It was, I think that my first day as Bill Williamson was January 19th, 2009, because I wrote it on my script. And I think I did a little video on my Instagram a few months back saying that I found it. And I've been blessed ever since. And I remember going, that's the first day where I met Rob Rudolph. And we looked at each other. He's a country, you've seen him on, if you haven't met him yourself, you've seen him on interviews and stuff. He really is the real life John Marston. He's a cowboy. He's like, you know, he's not like a cigarette. I don't know what I'm doing here, man. And it's just funny. And to this day, he said we're still in shock with what this juggernaut of intellectual property has become. But it's certainly improved my life. I get to meet great fans, and we're all blessed because of this. We stepped in the right pub. Let's put it that way.
That is fantastic. I'm sorry you see me smiling up here. I'm a giant fan. Give a round of applause, everybody. So, before we get too deep into this, I want to take a quick poll. How many of you have played both Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2? All right, keep your hands up. How many have finished both? Cool. Okay, everyone put your hands down. How many of you have not finished Red Dead 2? All right, I'm going to have to tailor a couple of these questions. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, for those of you who haven't finished, raise your hand. How many of you don't know what Saint Denis is? Okay, well, I tell you that. Anyway.
So, who's in chapter 4? Who's in chapter 2 or 3? Stay in chapter 2 and 3. So, I said a whole bunch of stats in the beginning of this, but these things really make a difference. 60 hours of story, 500,000 lines of just dialogue. You guys made...
Big number.
That's a big number. You guys made about 30 movies for one IP just for RD2. About 30 movies. That is ridiculous. So, my question for you, it's a lot. My question for you, I'm well aware that they probably didn't do all 60 hours, but what is the process of playing a character for 6 years, being able to stay true to that character and being able to keep up with those performances for such a long time? Because I'm assuming it's broken up. So how did you feel about just playing that character for so long for essentially one performance?
Well,
Go ahead.
We're making eye contact, so for Mary Beth, I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't finished the game yet, but she has a pretty cool character arc. And I cannot say that I had any idea where it was going when I first started on the game. And you kind of, to your point, because it's so many hours of gameplay and they're capturing so much footage, they really had to tell us where we were in each scene. You would come in, you would get your script, you would memorize and be off both by the time you got in, obviously. And then they would just sort of tell you where you are. Like, oh, you're in Valentine, or oh, you're in Strawberry, or you're in St. Louis, or wherever. And they would sometimes have to refer to different parts of the story that you would be filling in. Or, oh, remember when we shot this scene? Well, that comes right after this, because you have to shoot it out of order. It's just how the game goes and how the scheduling goes. So you learn more about your character as you every time you come in, and you meet different, you have different dynamics with different other cast members, and it sort of unfolds as you go along. And the directors and the writers and everyone involved are so great at telling you, getting you into whatever scene you're about to do, that it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, shoot, well you're telling me that this is happening now, but I already played that a certain way. They have that all like blueprinted out. So it wasn't easy because some of the situations are really hard, you know, the scenes are really emotional. But they were able to track it in a way that made it digestible for us when we came on, you know, to film. I felt.
Yeah. It was kind of puzzle-like. As she said, we shot most of it out of order. And I remember my first day, it was also my first day of motion capture. And I was in with Arthur and Dutch. And Uncle, I believe, was my first one. And I was standing there like this. And they're like, Penny, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And you don't have to move your arms like a Sidney's character, like, just stand still. I was like, oh, okay, all right, gotcha. And I think it was just maybe one of the scenes where I'm just kind of like beckoning Arthur to ask him a question. And I don't get to finish that question. And I kept asking the director, I was like, what am I asking? Because it's meant that I'm meant to be interrupted. And he was like, hey, you should probably know that. So this is what's happening, this is what you're asking for. But you're never gonna finish that line. So let's see what you want, like play it how you want to. And it's funny, I think we might have even overdubbed a little bit of that scene near the end of the production because it just was so not on. It wasn't what was supposed to be happening in that time. But they were pretty good about that too. Like if anything I think felt out of tone or if anything maybe wasn't fitting, we would go back and reshoot it or we would go back and rework it. Which was always exciting nearing the end, and I was like, oh, well, now I know what this is. Now I know what Molly is talking about, which most other people don't, but I was like, I do. I swear Molly has a point. So yeah, that was always really funny. It was really just piecing a lot together, and it definitely came together for me as time went on. And I feel like I found more of her also as time went on, and then it was just more and more exciting to work on her and work on the relationship she had, especially between her and Dutch, as things grew and as the story grew for me. And that was really cool. And I think you can see it in the game too. You can see how things kind of strengthen.
For me, being able to come back from the first one, I had an idea of who Bill Williamson was in my head as far as what I used as an actor to create, of course, the first game. But this was, a prequel taking place 12 years and then leading up to those events. And if I knew the way that Bill was structured and how things were laid out, it's completely amazing. And to not spoil anything, I would say this. Bill's actually a very complicated, interesting character, but like any of us, as far as to see really who we are, it's up to you as the player, because you can decide to hang out around the campsite or do these little side missions and listen to dialogue or go by the gunsmith and get your guns cleaned, and just maybe listen to something through a hotel door. It's like, here's the little thing, or pick up a copy of the newspaper and read. There's clues as to who everyone's in, very deep into this game. And depending on what much you want to play, how much your life allows you to have time to play, my storyline is Bill, her storyline, that really depends on you. The Easter eggs, all the nuggets, they're in there. But it's up to you to discover. To go back to the question, I just kept the basis that Bill is just full of rage. He doesn't know how to express himself, but the one thing he expresses by just doing is everyone, even John in the original game, who thinks he's a buffoon, gives him the one bit of credit. It's like, that son of a bitch, pardon my language, He knows how to survive at all costs. And that's what I took. And I got to expand them. And yeah, I would say as far as how in-depth that goes, it's all there. It's up to you as a player to discover.
I will say, as someone played, I thought I played a lot. I thought I played a lot. I flew past so much, especially when it comes to the camp dialogue. You could spend hours in that camp dialogue and still not get everyone's story. I could say all three of these people have such an in-depth story in there that you can completely skip over. It's very possible if you don't take the time. Enjoy the slow pace of the game. It's slow for a reason because you're supposed to feel the arcs of everybody, and everyone kind of has a redemption, even those who were in the first grade. But here's the thing, here's the main reason why we're here, is that, I got a question for you guys. How do you think they actually make these scenes? How do you think they actually do all this stuff? Does anyone have any idea? Say that.
Motion capture.
Motion capture? Motion capture. Were you guys part of the motion capture process?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not a setup. That's supposed to spike it on that.
95% of what that is us all the time. A lot from some of the guys, we did have guys that would do stunt because there was some jumping from rooftops and a certain mission, and they're like, let's be careful and get the right people. But most of this, there was a period in the game where I did drills, movement drills. Both myself and Peter Blomquist, who plays Micah, where we were drenched in our performance capture suits because we were doing drills with the gun, punching, firing, and doing stuff like that. Basically, because all the movement is us. When you see a mission and Bill's getting shot at and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, using profanities like Bill does, that's me ducking behind a makeshift rock or the side steps of an abandoned barn or house. That all movement is me. That is all us all the time. Sometimes there would be just strictly voiceover work where we go in a booth and the stuff like ADR, things like we need to change the lines, we're going to replace this line with this, and then they pick up and add and whatnot. And there were moments like that, but 90+% of it is us in what we call Velcro pajamas with ping pong balls, in layman's terms, in a studio. We're in a giant sound stage, not too different than the inside of the convention center. We are acting like this black box theater of the round. If I have a scene with these two, we're looking at each other. We're memorizing lines like you do in a play or scripted television. If there's props being used or opens the door, the makeshift door is made, the sensor balls are put on that, so we're getting the sound of the click of the knob. The gun I had, the bolt action, was a bolt action rifle. That was all censored up, so I could cock a chamber, and the sound is actually the sound you hear. So it's pretty much, it's live performance, it's live acting. It's not just, and people, because most games are done where everything's kind of set up and the actor gets the booth and he reads the script. And voice acting is a remarkable profession in its own right, and it takes talent, protecting your voice, changing the range, sometimes the sound and whatnot. But what we did is just all basically what we call pure acting. What we do, we're professional actors, and to us it was like doing a mix between theater and television. And I will borrow this from our castmate, Benjamin Byron Davis. He says it wonderfully, so I want to keep using it. The best way to describe it is we were doing theater. We were acting inside a painting while it was being painted. And I think that's beautiful, and it's if you think about it, it's a little weird, but it makes perfect sense. And that's kind of what we did.
I mean, one day I came on set and there was a dog in a full body mocap suit, and I was like, this is bonkers. It was the cutest, most ridiculous thing I had ever seen. Have you ever seen a dog put on? I live in New York right now, and they have like they'll sprinkle the sidewalk with salt because it gets, really snowy and the snow has to melt. And when you put those little shoes on dogs, they walk all crazy. Okay, imagine that, but in a full body mocap suit on a dog. Like, they are serious.
If you covered a dog in peanut butter.
Yeah, it was crazy, but like that is how detailed, you know, the work and the animation and the compositing on this game is, and you can see it in the details of the game. Like it looks lifelike, it looks cinematic, it's beautiful, and it's because of the motion capture.
Yeah, I mean, in one of the scenes where I had to fall backwards, they were like, we're not going to be able to animate or fix this in animation. We have to perfect this fall. So I had to fall about 30 times onto a mat to get it. It was interesting because I haven't done stunt work, so I was like, let's figure out how do we fall down a bunch of times. But we got to it, and it was kind of fun for me because it was something I'd never done before. And then even because if you're in the suit, you also have a helmet on your head that has a camera coming out here, and it's focused on your face to capture your emotion and your sound, obviously. So in the scenes where we're all kind of in the camp and we're dancing and we're like canoodling, it was like me and Dutch was like 7'1,000. trying to like kind of dance with these.
That's basically what it looks like.
These twigs basically in front of us, and I'm just like poking them in the chest with my helmet and stuff. But you have to sort of find a way to navigate with that. And yeah, like on most sets on film and TV, you get in, you're like, oh hello, let's all get into costume and let's get our makeup done. And this one, it's like, everyone take your costumes on, put the lovely black spandex suit, and hang out until we call you. So we're all just like, hey, how's it going? I'm Penny, nice to meet you. Who are you playing? You know, we got to know each other very well.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
You had to save the hugs to the end because you're like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in like 4 weeks. Velcro would reach you. Like, oh, I wish I waited. So
That is so awesome. You guys actually already answered a couple of questions I had about the whole mocap thing, because it's weird. It's in the round, which is a theater term where the audience is around you. And for those of you who don't know mocap, basically, I don't know Rockstar's exact method, but the basic of mocap is that there's cameras all around them that's picking up little dots and translates that into a digital image. That is the basic.
we are not allowed to talk about Rockstar's exact method, and you will never know about Rockstar. You'll just know about the end product, and you'll love it. That's what we guarantee. You'll just love it. You're amazing.
I wanted to ask so many questions about your characters, but out of respect for those who have not gone through most of these things, I'm not going to ask those questions. But what we are going to do is we're going to open up the floor to any questions you have for our lovely guests here about random or motion capture, about acting in general, because that was a lot of acting. So does anyone have questions? Just throw your hands up. Go ahead. Speak out loud, proud so we all can hear you.
All right, so my question is, so before you start acting, do they show you concept art of your character? Do they show you concept art or storyboards of the scenes you're about to act before you go into the suits and start portraying your characters?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah.
No. Wouldn't that be grand? No, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. No, I had no idea what Mary Beth was going to look like, honestly, until the first art was released to the general public about what Mary Beth looked like. And I was like, and sometimes I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks so much like me. And sometimes I'm like, guys, you could have kept my face. Come on. You know, just because you want to be that character so badly. And some of the actors in the game look exactly like their characters. Curzon, who plays Hosea, they're like twins. Same with Mia, who plays Tilly Jackson. Like, it's uncanny. But no, they don't show you any concept art. You have an idea of what the environment is. You have an idea of what you might be wearing. But I didn't know what Mary Beth was going to look like. Did you have any idea? I mean,
Now here's the funny thing. When I was working from the original game, the Fort Mercer scene with Rob, they built this platform, like I was in the top archway entrance of Fort Mercer. And I actually climbed up to this thing so we could get the up and down perspective. And Rob and director Rod Edge were at the bottom, and they had a rendering, and they were showing me, and I was up there, and they said, hey, Rob's like, oh, this is cool, man. Hey, come down here to see it. And I was up there, I was like, nah, I'm good. I didn't want to see it. I was like, no, kind of like, that surprised me. I should have gone down there to see it, but I didn't know until like the first or second trailer when you see Bill for the first game is what I knew what he looked like. And we similarities, there's different. Thank God I don't look like Bill. If I ate tobacco, maybe. The cool thing about this, the second time around is we got to see certain maybe basic renderings, but we couldn't depend on them because sometimes they would change, or it's like, we think we're going to put this outfit, and we change the outfit, and so you got an idea because I myself was already established. Some of the stuff is like they did change the cook, and I know that's pretty much that's Bill. Obviously he's heavier in the game, he's a little healthier, but I also put some weight on since the original game, so it matched up. But I think for the most part, if we got to see something, we couldn't necessarily depend on it because it would be tinkered with and changed constantly.
Yeah, I mean, like they would show us a little bit on the sound stage. They would show us the environment that you're in, so you wouldn't like walk through a fire, basically, which I was known to do.
That's a
Penny,
clip
that's
up there.
It's like a camp. You're in a tent right now. You just walk through it. And a little bit of what they call pre-viz, right? The pre-visuals, when they were showing like the director, like, oh, this is how it looks like. We would see like a small kind of outline of a very, very basic graphic of what we were, but not a face or what the clothes. Yeah, right. It's like you can't have your hands like too close to your body because your dress is like this big, that kind of stuff. But really, no visuals until the artwork came out in October. Yeah, which was fun.
Gotcha. First, loud and proud, so we all hear you.
Yeah, sure. Prior to the production, did any of you guys like study any of the game or play it? And then after production, did you guys tap into it and like play the game or want to talk to yourselves or get to know the characters?
I did play the first Red Dead. I do love it. I definitely played Red Dead Redemption 2, and I aggravate the hell out of Rebecca. She gets so mad at my Arthur, it's ridiculous. I had an idea of how huge this was going to be and how much bigger they were going to make it than the first Red Dead, just because technology is at a different point than it was when they made the first game. This, to me, is conceptually one of the deepest worlds that you can play with in terms of the video games, which is super, super exciting, which also made me more excited to play it, because you can go fishing for hours, you can go hunting, you can go hunt something and then go to the trapper and have them make you an outfit or a purse or whatever. And that to me is really, really, really exciting because I love the Wild West. I love, history and getting into that side of things. So I definitely played Red Dead 2, but I hadn't played it first.
Yeah, I hadn't played the first, but obviously as soon as I was involved, I was like, all right, let's watch some videos here. What's basically in my, I did know it was going to be a prequel, so I was like, wait, what's this leading to? And it was amazing. How have I missed this? I'm not personally like a massive gamer, so I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. This is huge. This is a really, really important game and a really interesting and innovative game. So then when the second one came out, I had to borrow a friend's PlayStation. I said, can I have your PlayStation? Because I want to go find me. And I did. And I drove her nuts, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I remember saying that. I remember doing that. But I'm also completely ADD, and I get so lost in the game. I get so lost in this giant world. I'm out hunting for like 2 hours. I'm like, oh my god, I have to go do something. I have to complete a mission. But I also think it's just so fun too that you can choose your own morality. You can choose your moral compass. Like, are you gonna go just kill a bunch of innocents, or are you gonna go do this the right way and do it as like a grand statured man? And that's a lot of fun. I love that conflict that you can have, just like sitting in your room and like, do I want a bounty on my head right now, or shall I just take the easy route and do the kind thing? So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to play.
I think I played like 5 consecutive campaigns the first Red Dead when it came out. I'm a gamer. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I played, and it was awesome. Thank you. If you did the same, applaud yourself now. Right on. So, no, I played, and what was it? Here's what I was thinking cool, because I know Rob and Ben and myself did get to do this when working at Red Dead 2. People coming in, they're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And, you know, and coming in, it's like, there's certain things we can, some people come in didn't really, if they were like minor parts, didn't want to know what they were involved, but some of these main characters, you know, Rob and Ben, I got to tell them, it's like, well, you know, this is going to be a prequel to this game that came out a few years ago, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I know nothing about the story. And it's like, well, what we can do, we go on our phones or laptops and be able to pull up, on YouTube, and pull up cutscenes of the original game. And that got to help because they could see John, we got to see Bill and Dutch, and just get kind of like a blueprint of the world which they would be encompassing. And it's going to grow. We're going to places we haven't been before. But this is who Dutch ends up. This is who Bill ends up being. This is the end result of, you know, John and Abigail. So being able to do that, at least reference the first game, definitely helped the actors coming in to be like, oh, okay, all right, okay, I can get into the flow of what this is. And it obviously worked beautifully because both games do work. And I've been telling people who've been coming up to my table, even though the technology is advanced very well, if you've got like the Xbox One X, for example, and you're playing 4K resolution, and you put in the original Red Dead, and it still holds up. It ain't a bad game at all. It still looks pretty good, aging in decades. So.
Can't wait to re-release it. You in the yellow. I'm a brown sugar.
So how did this like change for you? Like after the completion, what changed?
That's a good question. What changed? Well, I'm doing a lot of I do a lot of conventions, and I'm getting to meet great fans like all of you, especially you. I'll tell you this though, and just being an actor, is I've gotten more auditions, I've booked some more work since then, but as an actor, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So I still go out there and I still go out and audition because that's what you got to do. And I'm able to get other work, but it's certainly it's brought more recognition. So hopefully the next, if fortunate enough to book other work, I don't know if it'll be as big as Red Dead or it'll be more Red Dead. I have no. Your guess is as good as mine. But I'll tell you that one of the big positives it gave me, I speak for myself, because like I agree, I really have an appreciation, all do for you fans who have been so awesome. And as much as you look at us, it's like, oh my God, you guys are doing this. We're small cogs in a big picture because we really have to owe it. We couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for the Rockstar writing team of Dan Houser and Rupert Humphreys and Michael Unsworth, who put years into trying to make a great experience for all of you guys. And we've got the animators, the game testers, the producers who don't get enough recognition, who've been with us, you know, assistant directors like Jeff Lyons and Wendy Goldberg and Gethin Aldous, who great people you probably never heard of that were just working tremendously on everyone's behalf. So we all work as this giant team in secret. And it's like crazy as that gets because you want to tell people, but you're afraid that, you know, the chip in your neck will explode at any moment. No, that they never did that. It was in the arm. But it's been a blessing. I've been very fortunate to. I love the character Bill Williams, and it wouldn't have been possible without everyone at Rockstar to help me in my small bit and vice versa. And so I've become a lot more appreciative. I'll give you that.
I started playing video games again. And I think like career-wise, it's definitely like it's been a nice leverage point for some things. But as he was saying, like with actors, it's really like you can do something huge, and then the next day people are like, all right, cool, moving on. So it really is like still a continuous hustle, but I got like a new agent from it and some pretty cool stuff. But I also got the best friends ever from this. Like we're all kind of outlaws. We live between LA and New York, and Rob's down in Indiana, and we still meet up all the time. We'll still hang out and just talk about the awesome community that's building around this game and how lucky we are to be the forefront of it. And yeah, particularly you guys, you know, there's more cons to come too, so more people to meet. Yeah.
Both of them kind of captured my sentiments exactly. The community aspect of it and the fans and how much this means to them and how exciting it is to talk about the work and the experience has really been a beautiful and shocking and surprising and wonderful thing for me personally. I love Mary Beth and I think she's like wonderful, you know, and obviously you enjoy the characters you play, but having other people, having certain scenes means so much to everyone else, just sort of, it's a point of pride for myself and what we achieved, I feel. Obviously everyone in the game and everyone that stepped onto set and everyone who worked on this game, you know, as directors and assistant directors and animators and compositors, they're just some of the most talented people you could ever meet, and having those friendships is very, very important to me. I also host esports, and so it was funny because I was keeping the secret for so long. Obviously, Rockstar goes to painstaking lengths to make sure that the experience is through you guys and not through what we would say to you guys about, you know, anything that happens in the game. They want you to experience it, which is wonderful. And so I was, you know, hosting esports for like 2 years and not able to say like, hey, I'm in a video game. And so now to have these two communities sort of collide has been a really cool thing for me personally.
Red shirt.
What do you think was the most ridiculous of all the Red Dead Redemption 2 side missions?
Ridiculous?
The most ridiculous side mission was Red Dead 2.
Well, are we not allowed to spoil it?
How about we do this? Let's open this up a little bit. Do you mind if I open up a question? What do you feel is the most ridiculous thing your particular character was a part of or did in Red Dead 2? Give me a second to think. I opened up a big, it's a lot of games, 60 hours of game, it's 30 movies. Actually, 60 movies.
Mine, it wasn't a mission, but it's just a cutscene, and I think you have to venture the camp pretty hard to find this. But there's one scene where I'm having an argument with Karen about absolutely nothing, and we get in a scuffle. Like she smacks me, or sorry, I smack her, and then she wallops me across the face, and then I just walk away, and that's that. So I think that was definitely one of Molly's. Like she might have had a few before that argument started. You know, she had a few scoops in the back before that one for sure. That was pretty ridiculous. Oh, scoops is drinks, by the way.
I don't know if it was a ridiculous thing, but I definitely think that people in camp, the other game members in camp, probably, I don't know how they felt about this, but when Kieran is tied up and sort of being hung out to dry, you know, Mary Beth offers him water to make sure that he doesn't, you know, probably die of dehydration on that tree. And it's not ridiculous, but I think it was definitely one of those things where everyone else at camp was like, oh, God, you know, don't help him, he's no Driscoll. Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
I think the most ridiculous thing that Bill was a part of in Red Dead 2 was going to the governor's ball. In a suit that made him look like a psychotic ventriloquist. That was, because I got to saw the rendering and knew what that would look like. And everyone laughed. And they said, oh yeah, we're playing this up for laughs. And I was like, but no, that was, I would say that was most ridiculous. You know, The tongs in the fire were ridiculous, but it's also kind of disturbing. It makes you ask a lot of questions. So we'll leave it at the soup.
I'm going to ask a quick question as a fan, and I'm the host and I have the mic.
Go ahead.
Do you think by the end of RD2, your characters have truly empowered the word redemption?
Without spoiling anything?
Without saying, don't explain what happens at the end, but do you think your characters by the end of Red Dead 2 truly empower the word redemption? Because that's what the entire story arc is about for Arthur.
I'm just gonna say yes. Mary Beth is living her best life. So watch the episode. So now you might know.
Well, now here's my thing. Are we saying, this is tricky for me, because are we saying, because I was in both games, are you saying to someone who's never, if they're playing chronological order, they never played the original, and they're playing just RDR2 as their first Red Dead experience?
We're going with actual timeline of the events by the time RD2 finishes, not knowing about RD1 because that hasn't happened. Has your character found the definition of redemption within themselves?
No, not for Bill. Bill's a big question mark, and that's okay. Because if you're playing Red Dead 2 and you haven't played the original, finish up, play the original. See what I'm talking about. By the time you get to RDR1 playing chronologically, in his mind, Bill thinks he's satisfied because he. I would say that the idea is it's a great example. If you know the story, you put the two together. Bill's a great example of the meek Sheldon here. I'll show you, and he does because. It's tricky, man. If you know nothing about the first game and you play Red Dead 2, you don't. I'd see you don't want to spoil it, man.
Don't say the it's vague for a reason.
It's vague for a reason. No, but the answer is no. No, question mark.
No. So, Penny, so here's the thing. I'm not going to spoil your character. I'm not going to say anything about the end, but I'm really interested in what your actual answer is.
I think, sadly, no. Because why Molly would have been there in the first place is to get away from the hardship and the difficult working conditions and honestly the barren-like nature of Ireland that was at the time. And she's hitched herself to find love, and she's hitched herself to Dutch. And I don't think that can be parallel with redemption.
He has a plan, okay?
Wait. Did Dutch ever have a plan past the first one?
Tahiti.
Oh, Tahiti.
Fantastic.
Molly would be Tahiti.
All right, we have time for approximately one and a half more questions. So choose it up. You in the fire black shirt in the bag. Loud, perhaps we can hear you.
I got kind of a simple question for you guys. It's what's your favorite part of the map online? It's a pretty big map.
What's your favorite part of the map? Not the online bit, so we don't spoil things.
Of the map?
What's your favorite? Let's adjust. Favorite town or area?
No. Okay, my favorite part, because no matter where you are in the game, it's not gonna spoil anything. When you go to Flat Iron Lake, all those islands, you can go to those islands. No, that doesn't spoil anything.
No, but I
Did you not know that?
No.
You can, don't try swimming. You can either, if you have one of the higher grade horses and you up his like stamina stats, like the yellow ring around it, you can ride your horse to those islands or just find a boat and go there. But there's cool things on those islands, and there's cool rare animals, and there's some fun things. You go at any point and just go to the islands. They're cool because I found out you could go, and then I was like, I'm going to the islands. Yeah, that's my answer.
Flatiron Lake.
Flatiron Lake. The islands of Flatiron Lake. You can go to them. Yes.
I won't say specifically there was a place in the map that I loved because again, it's such an open world. As to Steve's point, you can go explore the islands. Like anything you see on the map, drop a point and ride toward that point, and you will discover crazy stuff no matter where you're going. Personally, I liked following the wild goose chase of getting all the people with cigarette cards.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite missions, I guess you could say, was finding all of those individuals. That was super, super fun for me. So I would say that it's not on the map necessarily. It's not like specific to a place on the map, but sort of going on that scavenger hunt was very fun.
That'll definitely get you around the map.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. You're like, oh, well, now we're in a swamp and shooting out with this woman. And
Yep.
she's like, I won't spoil anything, but do that. If you find a guy in the bar that tells you to go explore, take the cards and do the thing.
Just for you guys so you know, there's a lot of swamps and a lot of ladies that will shoot you. So.
There you go.
I have a bad sense of direction, don't ask me.
That's perfectly fine. One-ish more question, yes. Yeah, you like to answer.
So, when you guys all had really great chemistry with each other in the game, specifically with like the whole Arthur and John. But what would have to be your when you were doing a scene, was there ever a moment where you got like completely lost in your character or in the world?
Is there a scene that you just got lost in?
Well, you don't want to get too lost because, you know, there is a schedule with filming, so it's not like I have okay. Here's a story, and maybe answer your question. There is a scene. It's later on, and it's in chapter. It's in chapter 6. You're at the point, and you're at camp, and Micah's at this long table, and you've got the two characters on either side of it. Now, I won't say the characters are going to give too much away, but their characters, one of them isn't Bill. I was on set, the actor playing that particular character was not there that day, so by the way, in that dialogue, you can get in, and I was suited up, so I went in for that character's just strict motion capture. And it was a scene where basically Arthur and Micah are getting tested with one another. And Peter, who plays Mike, is at the table, and he's doing his thing. And I'm sitting and watching him, and he's doing this thing with his jaw, and where he would just like finish a sentence and kind of stare into like this teeth chatter. And it was just this little nuance he put in, and I was just like leaning in, just watching the nuances of his face. It's just like Peter's a tremendous performer in all aspects, but he was just finding these nuances, and I just zoned out. And I'm just watching every once in a while his face, and just kind of you're really, we've all got really tight become friends, but there are great moments when you really got to. You got to a scene where it's like being on stage in a really good play, like a Sam Shepard, and there's just something heavy going on, and you're watching your fellow actor just come in and do these little things. And like they say, we're really good. It's not what the actor says. It's what they're not saying. It's what they're just acting with every fiber of their body. And I just remember, like. Rod probably called cut, and I was just still watching it because I was like, damn. But it was acting. That's why people say voice acting. It's like, no, this was just, we all went to school for the craft. We get theater degrees and stuff. Like he was on point, And there were moments like that for everybody where we were all involved. That's one of the reasons we're so close and just got lucky, because it's like no one knows what we're doing, we can't talk about it. But the blessing is we're in here, it's sucked into the moment.
Perfect.
I think for me it was always great working with Ben, but as time went on, as I was saying earlier, when I had like a bit more of a girthier idea of what the story for Molly was, one of our fights, I can't remember which one it was, it might be something again that you just have to be passerby to. The director kind of took us both aside and he gave me a motivation as to why I was yelling and why I was spewing all this stuff, and he gave Ben something else and he didn't tell us what he told each of us. And so whatever game that he created in between us, I was so frustrated just trying to get my words across to Ben, and Ben would not listen to me, and just like a human swatting a fly, he just kept shooting me down. And I remember that whatever was happening, it was happening in every part of my body, and I was frustrated. I was getting genuinely cross and genuinely angered by it. And then it was like, cut! And Ben came over and he just gave me like a big hug, and he was like, it's okay. And I was like, oh, all right, okay, we're let's go get lunch. Yeah.
I would say that I definitely got lost in my epilogue scene for sure. And then another scene that I will talk about, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But I will mention a scene that you might not even come across unless you like really go into camp and sort of hear people chatting and come across it. It's a cut scene between me and Susie Grimshaw, who's played by Kylie, who's an incredible actress, who there's a scene where and you can find Mary Beth admires herself in the mirror quite a lot by the lake. And they're like, what are you doing, Mom? She's just like, so I'm admiring myself in the mirror, and it's this scene where, you know, Kylie, Mr. Shaw, comes up to me and she just starts berating me about wasting time, looking at myself in the mirror, how vain I must be, how beauty will fade, and how she basically is to me, talking about how her sense of value as a woman, especially as part of this game, how she feels about beauty and age. And Kylie was so ferocious in attacking the scene in such a way that when you watch the scene, I still viscerally feel it. And it was sort of the same thing where afterwards we did it a few times, and they were riding Kylie to get in a certain way, even though everything that was coming out of this woman was brilliant. And I was just like, what? Where are we going with this? How can we even go further than what we've already done? This is insane. And afterwards, she just hugged me and she was like, oh, Sam. I'm glad that was us. I was like, me too.
Kylie was our grandmother.
Yeah.
She's like one of those, like if we were a Girl Scout troop and she was like our den mother, like we would make so much money off of cooking. You would make money off of spice cookies.
That is perfect. Unfortunately, we're not at the time. Really quickly, tell us the social medias or whatever you're doing. Really quick, just go down so we can know how to follow you and stuff.
Cool, yeah. Follow me. My Twitter and Instagram handle are the same. It's at Sam Strelitz, Strelitz, and come say hello.
Yeah, my social media handle.
Yes.
Wait, what's that word again? It's O'Brien. It's Obrien for O'Brien.
You can follow me on social media. Twitter and Instagram is the same. It's at Steve_J_Palmer. And I got some more conventions coming up, so just go online, see, and we post fun pics. We have fun.
And that was the RD2 panel. Give it up for Samantha.